Beef body condition economic considerations. Raymond Bittner, Livestock Specialist, 20th of January 2014. In this presentation, we'll go through beef body condition scoring and give you an economic justification of doing the body condition scoring. We'll identify the cost of improving under-conditioned animals, and we'll identify the return on investment of additional feed. Beef body condition scoring isn't a complicated art. It's basically assigning a number to each cow based on her body condition. The thinnest one in the top left is a 1. The second one is a 2. The third one with a little more condition and average is a 3. 4 is slightly over-conditioned at the bottom of the screen, and 5 is the fattest cow. Cows that are low BCS, for example cows 1 through 2, are thin cows. It's fairly easy for us to agree that thin cows will have lower pregnancy rates than ideal BCS of 3 cows. Thin cows weigh less, so when you cull them, they get you less return at slaughter. Thin cows wean lighter calves, and the calves look rough and sell for less. Thin cows are more likely to die before you can cull them. Intangible costs. Thin cows always require more management. Calves off of thin cows are more likely to be weak with scours and other maladies. And it's a visual problem for our industry. Having thin cows on the other side of the fence near a highway is not a good visual cue. And it's inhumane. Having animals that are under-conditioned in a Manitoba winter is just not acceptable at this time. Cows that are over-conditioned, or body condition score 5, 4.5, or 4, are over-fat cows. They also have lower pregnancy rate than body condition score 3s. They often milk less because they have fat in their udders and wean lighter calves. Over-fat cows have more difficulty calving than body condition score 3s. Over-fat cows have eaten more, and thus they have cost more to keep than a body condition score 3. In order to quantify the benefits of returning a cow back to a 3 body condition score, we developed this calculator. This calculator is going to help producers put a number to what the benefit is. And basically what we're thinking is if you have an ideal cow weighing 1,350 pounds, that's a 3 body condition score, and you add the value of the weaned calf that you wean next fall, that'll add up to $1,875, which is the number you can see in the top center of the screen. We also use some assumptions. With barley at $3.75, which is our current estimate, straw at $16 a bale, alfalfa grass, 1,350 pound bales at $60, 600 pound calves at a conservative price of $975, and an average cull price of 71 cents. We're going to move into the calculator in the next slide. So for example, if you look in the top corner, you see a 2.5 BCS cow. The cost required to get that 2.5 BCS cow back to the ideal 3 is $26.67 worth of feed based on the fundamental costs that we have on the left side. The returns are on the right side. Improved pregnancy rate is a $29 value to us. We feel that more cows will come in pregnant and they will have earlier, better calves. The cull weight gain is also a tangible asset. At $35, this cow will be heavier and she'll be worth more. She'll also wean heavier calves that look better. We believe that calculates out to about $66 worth of benefit. Total economic gain per cow is $130. The cost of feed was $26.67. If we go to a more extreme thin cow at 1.5 BCS, it certainly costs more to return it back to 3 BCS at $72, but the gains are incredible. You will definitely see an improvement of pregnancy rate on cows that are 3 BCS, $341 more per animal per year. The cull weight gain, they will certainly be heavier cows. We believe they'll be $238 more valuable. The weaning weight improvement, we have a $340 estimate there. That includes a heavier calf and a more slick and good selling calf. The final number that we add to the calculation is the cow death improvement. At $26, basically it's saying less cows will die, more cows will make it to market. You will have more money in your genes. The total investment was $72 a cow. The total economic gain was $946 a cow. The calculator works the opposite way too. Should you have cows that are so obese that they're at 5 body condition score, you definitely can save money on feed. Return them back over a longer period of time back to a 3 and probably save $46 a year in cost. There is improvements. They get pregnant easier. They do lose weight, so you don't have as much cull weight, but overall it's still a good option to feed them less, get them back into that condition. We'll discuss this more in a future slide. So, if you plan on going out to do body condition scoring visually, it takes 10 to 20 seconds per cow. Write the scores in a notebook, average out the scores, manage accordingly. Basically, you could feed all the animals more if it's a general herd problem. Feed groups of cows separate. Some may need extra condition, and feed them in a different pen with higher energy feeds. And some just need to be culled. Some cows are thin for good reasons, and they're better off on somebody else's place rather than yours. So what do I look for when I look at body condition scoring visually? The first thing to look at is body fat on the back ribs. If you can see the sharp and feel the sharp should you hold on to the cow, at the transverse process on the side of the back, that cow is on the thin side. The backbone is the next place to look. How sharp is it? How far does it protrude? Can you see the entire length of the backbone like on this cow? The foreribs. If you can see the sweep of the back 2 ribs, you know she's a little bit too low on condition. And brisket. If the cow's walking towards you, if you look at her brisket, if it's a thin, silky brisket, she's probably in a 1, 1.5, 2, or maybe less. If it's a wide and thick one that is filled up and an inch wide, it's probably in the 4 or 5 range. You can also review it from the tail and see what how much fat is around the tail head. The one thing to note too is take a look at the muscling very carefully. Cows that have given up their muscling in the rear quarters are definitely on the low condition side, and in order to return the muscling and the fat, it'll take a fair bit of energy and time. To look at this cow, you would say that she's probably about a 1.5, maybe a 2. Going into a few pictures to give you an idea of what the scores look like. This is a condition score 1. As you can see, the bones are plainly visible. Muscling is gone. You can tell there's no fat cover hardly anywhere on that cow. The reality is the person who took this picture told me this cow only lived for a few hours. After she got away from the photographer, she laid down and basically died. This is what happens to condition score 1s. Please don't let that be your herd. Condition score 1.5, very thin. This cow is in slightly better condition, but you can see many of the ribs. You can see the bones of the transverse process, the hooks, the pins. She is thin enough to call a 1.5. Muscling is basically devoid. So this cow needs a lot of extra energy to return back to good condition. Body condition score 2. Different style cow, different style hair, but if you look at her carefully, you can see the sides of her transverse process. You can see her backbone very clearly throughout the entire length. The hook bones are definitely protruding, and there's very little muscling. Body condition score 2. This is a 2.5 BCS cow. It's borderline, but it's nearing ideal. This is a 3. You can see that the ribs are not visible anymore. The fat over the transverse process is significant. It makes it smooth. The backbone isn't protruding. There's a little bit of muscling in the rear end. It's all overall a good cow. 3.5, a little bit of fat everywhere. Backbone isn't visible. Ribs aren't visible too much anymore. This is the type of cow that's just slightly positive. At certain times of year, this is an ideal score. Condition score 4. This is starting to get a little bit too much condition. You can see it's in a little bit of a muddy place, but the cow is doing very, very well. She has a lot of condition on her. Nothing to be worried. Possibly a little bit too much. She could stand to go on a diet through some of her non-productive months. But overall, it's condition score 4 cow. Body condition score 4.5, fat. This is where the problems really start adding up. This cow will be more difficult to get in calf and probably won't milk terribly well. This is the far end of the spectrum, very fat. Typically cows like this have gained this much fat from consecutive years of not bearing calves or some extreme circumstances. Cows like this are probably better off culled and allowed to not eat your feed anymore. For solutions to improve low BCS cows, first of all, focus on pre-calving and early lactation animals first. This is the time when you can make the best benefit by improving with a higher energy feed and making sure your protein is completely balanced. Provide more pasture in summer. This is the least costly time to add condition to the cow. Even expensive pasture is less costly than feed. The reason that is that the pasture is in a warm period of time, whereas winter feed is in a cold period of time. It is easier to put weight on when it is warm, or at least fall conditions in Manitoba. Ration balance with a farm production advisor, but be aware, provide them with realistic BCS scores to rectify the deficiency. The other idea is wean at 205 days or earlier. Cows that end lactation earlier gain weight back more efficiently. Solutions to high body condition score cows. Leave the condition unchanged through pre-calf and early lactation. The reason we say that is that usually comes after early lactation is breeding season. Cows on negative energy slopes and negative protein slopes are not likely to catch as easily as cows that are level or improving. The other idea is rotationally graze your pastures and assure that the calves always have new grass on a regular basis, but don't allow too much feed for the cows. They can probably get away with less as long as the calves are healthy. You'll be okay. The other thing to do is stockpile the leftover pasture for late fall grazing post-wean. This is the time when the cow can most easily put up with the high fiber diets and lose some weight. So it's ideal to stockpile some pasture and use it in late fall. The best time to limit feed is after weaning while utilizing stockpiled pasture. Summary: body condition score your herd. It will only take a few hours. The low BCS cows will require an investment in feed. A 2.5 BCS cow, when you invest $1, you will get a 5-fold return. A 1.5 BCS cow, if you invest $1 in extra feed, there's a 14-fold return. Get out your pencils and notebooks. Go body condition score. Thank you. If you have more questions, you can contact me. My name is Ray Bittner, and my telephone number is 204-768-0010. Thank you.